I'm going to keep it straightforward because I know a lot of you have been scrolling through endless specs, trying to decide if a tiny laser head like this one is worth the space on your bench or if it will end up gathering dust. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The real question is whether the Au3tech A50M mini laser cutting head actually delivers on the promise of a compact, lightweight cutter that you can slip into a home shop without sacrificing the precision you need for hobby projects. When you're looking at a desktop laser cutter, the first hesitation most of us feel is about buying the wrong size of head. Too big and it hogs your limited workspace, too small and you wonder if it will handle the material thicknesses you actually work with. On top of that, the price point for a 2000-watt fiber source isn't trivial, so you want to be sure you're not paying for a feature you'll never use. That's why I spent a good amount of time digging into the community chatter around compact laser heads, reading forum threads about mounting challenges, and watching a few YouTube build-outs. What I found was a clear pattern. People who value the ability to move their cutter between a small CNC router and a tabletop laser engraver love the ultra-lightweight design, while those who run a small production line tend to need a more robust, automatically focusing system. Let's start with what the A50M actually brings to the table. The whole head weighs less than 400 grams, which is about the weight of a thick paperback novel. That means you can pick it up, hand-mount it on a Zaxxas slide, or even bolt it onto a portable gantry without needing a reinforced frame. The compact structure also translates to a much smaller footprint than the typical 800-gram heads you see on other hobbyist setups. For anyone whose bench is already crowded with a 3D printer, a CNC mill, and a resin vat, that space saving is a practical win, not just a marketing line. The ultra-wide zoom is another point that often gets lost in the hype. A 12mm focus adjustment range gives you a lot of flexibility when you're switching between thin acrylic sheets, thin leather, or a couple of millimeters of MDF. In real use, that translates to being able to dial in a tighter spot size for fine engraving on a watch face, then back off a millimeter or two when you need a clean cut through a 3mm acrylic panel. The precision optical path that Au3tech advertises isn't just a buzzword either. Users have reported that the beam stays centered even after several hours of continuous operation, which means fewer realignments and less downtime. One optional add-on that's worth mentioning is the Zaxxas slide table. It's not a must-have, but if you already have a lightweight gantry and you want to keep the overall mass down, the slide lets you mount the head without adding the bulk of a full-size motorized carriage. In practice, that means a smoother motion on lightweight belts and less strain on the drive motors, which can extend the life of your entire machine. Now, who should actually consider spending on this head? If you're a maker who already has a decent fiber laser source, say a Raycus, Max, or JPT tube, and you're looking to add a cutting head that won't dominate your workshop, the A50M fits nicely. It's also ideal for educators who need to demonstrate laser cutting without dedicating an entire lab to a massive system. The manual focus, while not as convenient as a fully automated autofocus, isn't a deal-breaker for projects where you set up once and run a batch of identical cuts. The lightweight nature also makes it a solid choice for portable demo units that travel to maker fairs or classroom settings. On the flip side, if your workflow is high-volume production, or if you routinely cut thick materials like 10mm plywood, you'll likely find the manual focus a bottleneck. You'll be stopping to refocus every few dozen pieces, which eats up time. The head also expects an external air cooling system. It's not a sealed unit that you can just plug in and walk away from. That adds a bit of extra hardware you need to accommodate extra hoses, a small blower, and enough clearance to keep the airflow unobstructed. For a user who doesn't have a dedicated cooling rig already in place, that could be a hidden cost. Another practical consideration is compatibility. The A50M is designed for Raycus, Max, and JPT sources, so if you have a different brand of fiber laser tube, you'll either need an adapter or you'll be out of luck. The documentation is clear on the connector types, but the community has noted a few instances where the mounting flange didn't line up perfectly with third-party brackets, meaning a little custom machining might be required. It's not a